Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Ah, well, isn't the timing perfect? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, right ahead of the next presidential debates, huge, bombshell, breaking news, Julian Assange all of a sudden is a free man, securing a sweetheart plea deal with Joe Biden's DOJ that essentially puts him on a plane straight home, back to his homeland of Australia. In my personal opinion on the release of Julian Assange, I think it's a good thing. I think initially they were hitting him with the Espionage Act, where he was possibly facing 175 years plus in prison. I'd argue that's a little bit of an excessive punishment for engaging in groundbreaking journalism, exposing the shadowy world of the corrupt security state. Frankly, I think the man has suffered enough and I'm glad to see him walk free. But the timing of all this and the clear political implication, well, it just reminds me of a certain pattern, a certain Democrat pattern. We'll get into what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so Julian Assange is essentially a free man. It's not fake news, it's the reality.
It's such a great moment. He's clenching his fists and waving to the crowd. What a great moment in history to witness and be a part of it, Jeremy. And thank you. I mean, we should all be.
I'm just getting it on my phone now. Wow.
That footage was taken on the 24th of June, 2024. Mr. Assange is free. Here's the latest reporting.
U.S. diplomatic cables that potentially endanger confidential sources. The material also apparently included U.S.-Iraq war-related activity reports and information related to Guantanamo Bay detainees. But tonight, Assange has agreed to plead guilty to a felony charge. And as part of a deal with the DOJ, he will avoid imprisonment here in the U.S. Now, under this new deal, DOJ prosecutors will seek a 62-month sentence, which is equal to the amount of time that Assange has already served in London, allowing him to immediately return to his native country of Australia. Now, this deal still has to be approved by a judge, a federal judge, but it would appear tonight that Julian Assange may be on his way home. Kaylee.
Interestingly, coming after just a few weeks ago, President Trump said he would consider pardoning Assange, and then we get this.
I said the exact same thing. Yeah. They're getting this done this week. I think they've been working on it, but this is a bit of taking a little steam out of the former president's sails, perhaps, by the Biden administration.
So essentially, just to catch you up on everything that happened, Julian Assange was awaiting a final decision on his appeal against extradition to the United States. He had surrendered himself to the local authorities in London, I think back in 2019. But then all of a sudden, I think around the springtime, we start hearing reports that Joe Biden's DOJ might be considering a proposed plea deal, which would potentially allow Julian Assange to plead guilty to a lesser charge of mishandling classified information rather than being hit with the Espionage Act. And fast forward today, at least today as I'm recording this video, initial report turns to reality, and that's exactly what happened. A sweetheart deal out of nowhere, with the DOJ possibly even crediting him with time served essentially, translating the 62 months that he spent in a UK prison as essentially time served for this mishandling of classified information charge. All that's missing is for a judge to sign the paper and Julian Assange is free. There's obvious cause for celebration here, but let me get to where I'm trying to go. Call me a conspiracy theorist, call me a cynic. I feel like this is a Biden campaign play. All of a sudden, this beautiful sweetheart deal comes out of nowhere thanks to Joe Biden's Department of Justice 2 days ahead of this summer presidential debate. Give me a break. They obviously know that this is a sore spot for Donald Trump, a guy who said, quote, "I love WikiLeaks," and essentially suggested that he would pardon him, which he didn't end up doing, much to the chagrin of his supporters. The Democrats obviously know it's a soft spot, and so they're probably trying to take advantage. I wouldn't even be surprised if Joe Biden brings it up during the debate. We all know shadowy figures embedded within the security state love giving the Biden campaign stuff to push back against the Trump team on. I mean, what a quote that was. Honestly, I think they saw the writing on the wall and just wanted to get ahead on this thing. You know, sure, Donald Trump failed to pardon Julian Assange during his first term. People were very frustrated back in January of 2021, where he pardoned rappers and even a foreign agent, but chose not to pardon Julian Assange. Sure, he didn't do it the first time, but slowly over time, he's been considering it. He's been moving in that direction.
More big one. Will you pardon Julian Assange?
Well, I'm going to talk about that today, and we're going to give it very serious consideration, and we're going to have a couple of other things to say in the speech that I think you're going to love.
I've heard some rumors.
And you've gotten so much out of me, I should leave a little bit for the speech, don't you think?
Mr. President, it is an honor and a privilege. I really do appreciate you sitting
down with me. And you're very respected, I have to say. When I did a little research, and some of my guys said, and I've met you before, but they said just a very respected guy. It's my honor.
The writing was obviously on the wall. Donald Trump had also committed to pardoning Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
And so honestly, I think they wanted to strip away his shot at redemption with classical liberals and libertarians. That's honestly my theory. Obviously, Donald Trump has taken so much heat on this issue. He's taken heat from people on the left, people in the middle, and people on the right. But the facts are, from his perspective, it was never an easy decision to make.
In terms of talking about this corruption, by the way, a name that comes to mind in the news recently is Julian Assange. You know, he was exposing this corruption early on. He's had his life ruined because of it. It's a really sad story. Edward Snowden, I mean, think about that bravery. For me, I was quite young when that was going on. But I mean, the idea of saying, hey, whistleblowing, actually, we've got some corruption going on. They're not being honest with the American people. You could have had a chance to pardon these individuals. Why decide not to in that moment?
You have two sides of it. In one case, you have like sort of a spy deal going on. And in another case, you have somebody that's exposing real corruption.
Right.
I feel a little bit, I won't say which one, but I feel a little bit more strongly about one than the other.
Right.
And you probably understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I could have done it, but I will say you have people on both sides of that issue, good people on both sides, and you have some bad people on one side. But I decided to let that one ride, let the courts work it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the courts are actually doing that.
Yeah, these are big decisions.
Yeah. In a certain way, you know, you have a country and there was some spying things and there were some bad things released that really set us back and really hurt us with what they did. You understand that.
Look, to be completely real with you, it's hard to question that kind of response when you haven't sat in the Oval Office as the President of the United States with access to all the classified information and everything that's going on behind the scenes. You know, maybe there was a legitimate concern. Maybe there was a real reason why Trump thought it was appropriate he stay out of it and let the courts deal with it. And of course, there's also the political implication, which Tucker Carlson reported on at the time. Here's a clip from back in January 2021.
And in both cases tonight, as one of his final acts as president, Donald Trump has the opportunity to make that right, to pardon both of them. We told you that last night. We told you it before. We're hearing tonight that neither man, particularly Julian Assange, we don't know if this is true, is likely to get a pardon. Why? Well, apparently because Republicans in the Senate, and by Republicans in the Senate we mean Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, the leader of Republicans in the Senate, has sent word over to the White House, if you pardon Julian Assange, we are much more likely to convict you in an impeachment trial. Now, is it legal to hold that over a president's head? We're not lawyers. We don't know. It's certainly wrong. But more than that, it tells you everything about their priorities.
Supposedly, Trump was facing threats of impeachment from his own party. So should Trump have pardoned Julian Assange? Probably. He literally said, quote, I love WikiLeaks, and even suggested he would pardon Assange. Then he didn't do it. That was obviously a betrayal. But at the same time, it's a complex issue, and there's a lot of factors at play. I think we could establish that fairly. He certainly missed his opportunity, and now he's missing his opportunity at redemption. So I guess that begs the question. I mean, most of what we're talking here is the political implication. Do Joe Biden and the Democrats now get credit for freeing Assange? Can they now brand themselves free speech advocates and warriors? Well, the answer to that is no, literally never. Let's not forget the 2016 report that Hillary Clinton considered a literal drone strike on Julian Assange. Quote, can't we just drone this guy? Clinton openly inquired, offering a simple remedy to silence Assange and smother WikiLeaks via a planned military drone strike, according to State Department sources. Yeah, no, the Democrats don't get to take a victory lap here, for obvious reasons. But of course, Democrats are going to take credit for defending press freedom and free speech. Yada yada yada, expect that coming. The conversation's obviously going to become political, but in conclusion, where my brain's at is less so whether or not Trump should have pardoned Assange or Joe Biden should have pardoned Assange. No, the question that I'm asking is why don't we have stronger protections for journalists and whistleblowers who come forward revealing serious, significant corruption? You probably shouldn't have to rely on a president getting involved to achieve justice in these cases. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.